Hi folks, welcome live to the penultimate day of the World Cup. So we are down to the final and we have two teams left standing. We have China, who were the winners of their group earlier in the Swiss stage with 1 loss and 3 wins. And we have France, who just squeezed in as the 4th place team in their group with a loss and a draw in the first 2 rounds, but very convincing in the cut. And these two teams meet in the final. Both have pretty scary rosters, and 2 games already played. So we had the first one on Thursday with Hungarian for France against Baratheon for China. Unfortunately, no recording of that one exists, but France started with a win there. And the calendar says that there was another game played yesterday, and I'm not seeing any reported result from this one. So the French Martel Knights of the Hollow Hill against the Chinese Greyjoy Filthy. So I have no idea whether that was played or not. I assume it was. So if anyone knows the result of that one, please do let us know. Now for the rest of the games, 6 games remaining. This is the calendar, so it's showing some weird times. I think this is GMT +3 now for me here in the calendar. So let's forget about it. So we have this 2 p.m. game starting in just a few minutes. It's starting 15 minutes later than scheduled because one of the players is late to the game, which gives us time to have a look at the decks. So it will be Valnitrik playing his Night's Watch Reigns of Castamere deck for France, and this deck we've already seen a couple of times in this tournament on my channel, and it's a very good one. So plays the popular in recent times Night's Watch big characters like Great Ranging, Jon Snow, and Samuel Tarly. So these are stewards, and also Colin Halfhand, who is a ranger character. And the little guys, particularly focusing, I guess, on the reserve here a little bit, because it plays 3 old stewards and generally is high on stewards to get a good red cook and a good draw potential for the watch has need. And how to gain power. So there is a little bit of renown on Corin, I guess. He's the one guy that has it. There is also Longclaw and Lord Stewart, just 1 copy of each. And there is the wall to be defended. Spread of icons, okay, focusing on intrigue here, but very possible to defend the wall. And we have the Reigns deck, which is always pretty useful, so pointy end can help survive if the opponent is grabbing some massive power on a character. We have Wildfire Assault to reduce the boards. We have the stand here for Great Ranging and 2 generally useful plots. And the main plot deck plays both Night's Watch specific deck plots that are great for defending the wall. So 1 free challenge that you don't need to defend, and this one that doesn't require characters to kneel. Then we have location draw, some economy, close call, which is important. We saw the other day in the semi-final between China and Germany how key characters got killed, and yeah, important to be able to get them back. And more economy here, and reset Valar Morghulis. So there is 3 copies of Maester Aemon and lots of dupes. No fresh recruits though to find Great Ranging with the dupe immediately. And let's see, we are starting. Great. And gives us a minute to have a look at the opposing deck. So this is Tyrell, Banner of the Lion, which is an excellent deck. So it's not undefeated in this tournament, but it is a handful for sure. And what does it do? So it has knights with Turney as the closer, so almost everything has the knight trait. And it has the Shadows sub-team with characters that have abilities when they come out of Shadows. So Boros for the tempo play, there is removal, Robert Strong, Mendon Moore, there's even Catspaw here. Old Bill Bone can cancel Rain's trigger potentially or prevent it. And the Knight of Flowers that also works with Shadows because he can stand and participate in multiple challenges. We have Old Town that can also grab power passively. And okay, pinch maybe slightly tricky to pinch the Nightwatch characters, although it is a weapon. Some of them have no attachments except weapon. And what else? The cancel, okay, if this gets played, it will be annoying for the wall for sure. The great draw location out on Undercity. And the economy, Arbor and Red Wine Straits, that is dupable and provides +3 and +2, so you can, if Political Disaster is played, you can keep your economy in a good state, and Political Disaster is in the deck, and it does always tend to hurt Night's Watch, right? So just to finish with the events, so nothing special here. Hand's Judgment maybe to cancel one of those red cooks, or maybe the draw could be useful. And yeah, so Political Disaster, there is also the Father for removal and march to the wall, so if the more aggressive playstyle works here, which sometimes Shadows can do, maybe this will be important, but if Night's Watch gets a good board, then it will be tricky for these plots to do much. We have economy here as well, and the last one, Valar Morghulis, so both decks played, and this one is quite fast. The other one can be too, but this one is a bit faster if the knights get played, so I expect that if yeah, those green apple knights and hedge knights and stuff like that find their way onto the board, then for sure at least Night's Watch will trigger their Morghulis, and if both do, then we might have a longer game. So just to let you know, since this one is running late, the next two games are played simultaneously. It's the Lenny Mirror and then the French Baratheon against the Chinese Targaryen, and we'll be jumping straight into those if this one doesn't finish early without much chance to have a look at those decks. Of course, you can always check them yourself if you're watching on YouTube. They will be in the description of this video. And we'll have Márton joining us to commentate on the Lenny game later. So that will be our main focus, and then if that one ends early, I'm not expecting it to because of the nature of the decks, but if it does finish early, then we can have a look at the Bara versus Targ game as well, which is yeah, could be very interesting actually. Probably would have been my choice if we didn't have a co-commentator for the Lenny game specifically, because I watched the semi-final game with Tark Trident walking all over the German deck, and it will be interesting to see if it can do the same against Bara Assault, which if it gets Storm's End can kind of get rid of those high claim military challenges, right? So interesting matchup, but let's focus on this one. So Tyrell opening with all of their key locations, let's say. So has the Arbor and Red Wine Straits. If they find dupes, it will be very easy to play that Political Disaster, and here we go. Already one is duped. And the draw location, one of the key cards in this deck, plus the cancel. It's only one copy, but finds it immediately. And now I think Night's Watch will need to be a little bit careful not to just play out all the locations it has, because Political Disaster might be coming. On the other hand, nothing in play yet, but still lots of gold remaining, so let's see if any characters come into play, because here Night's Watch currently has an advantage, having already Malshred as first player. We have yeah, all the icons, and we have Samuel Tarly, no dupes, so dangerous at the moment. 6 reserve, but could flip into a different plot. Although the scheme plots are not really known for any reserve boosts, or high reserve I should say, so it will be difficult to get much out of Samuel. in the beginning. So 2 knights in play. Nothing in shadow, so probably won't see a third one. And maybe just doing a military challenge seems like the thing to do here, right? Since the board is small and if they want to survive, they might just need to defend. And doesn't seem like Superduck can stop the Rain's trigger flipping out of that Late Summer Fist. So card in shadows for Night's Watch also. We need to keep an eye on that, what that could be. I think there's just a combination of Blackbird and Old Tattersalt. Oh, there's a Janus Slint as well, so it's one of those. Interesting. Old Tattersalt has an extremely strong ability, right? If you can use him repeatedly with that location, his warship, but it's not really being abused much at the moment. And this deck, so quite easy to find stuff like Cravens, but this deck not playing them. I think it can find the draw event potentially. That's a good target the Watchers need. So Valnitrik going for Intrigue, not military first, to force characters to potentially defend. So he wanted to test whether Green Apple Knight would defend this, I guess. And he doesn't, so what are we doing with the Rain's trigger now? Flipping into the stand without Great Ranching in play. That's the one you do want to stand usually, which is unusual. So can stand Samuel, but it's not a good round for him to stand. Draw our reserve already, and he's not getting power. And yeah, Superduck wants to understandably defend this military challenge. Deals with both, gives another card away, and now Samuel will do unopposed power, and should be enough for dominance unless something like the Iron Bank will have its due is played. And hitting Old Town on the Intrigue claim is not bad. It can speed up the game. So 3 power. It's not a lot, but it's something. And the better hand, the better board at the moment. But the one thing that is promising for Superduck has all the locations. So now as soon as a shadow card comes out, it immediately also triggers the Old Town Undercity, get more cards, and it's targeted draw really. Okay, look at the top 3, but you can pick the cards you like, and the one you place on top of your deck also can be used in that way. For instance, with Sir Mark Mullender. Brand the Builder makes sense to search for the wall, and Superduck starts with more econ, and now I think we see that Old Town Undercity trigger maybe in 2 different phases. Find some characters, especially knights. If you find more of these Green Apple Knights, then you can put yourself in the range of that tourney for the king closer, right? Where you can potentially win in one go. Okay, so pinch on Samuel. He's not a character that gains power on himself, but it is annoying if you can pinch him before the opponent gets the chance to use him as first player. Pinch usually you use as a surprise, but with only 5 cards in hand, or 6 now, makes sense to bring it out and try to search for something useful with the Undercity. And better find something, otherwise the 12 gold might go to waste. Playing this quite slowly. I'm guessing there's lag again. Okay. Yeah, that's one of the knights you like. And if you have more of these high tower knights, they can come in pretty cheaply. Okay, where are we? So we have Tyrion and Sir Bryce Caron in play as well. So now this is a good board that can potentially threaten to win quickly. Falcon Tyrion matters because with shadows in the deck, you do like the extra gold, right? Although on this occasion there is nothing. And especially worrying that there is no second trigger for Orton Undercity in the challenges phase. And on the other side we have first of all a dupe for Samuel Tarly. We'll see if Valnitrik needs to play around the pinch, if he can even do so, then he might want to. Otherwise he survives one anyway, and he has the Lord Steward. Yeah, so this works better if you're first player, really. You can grab a character and up on Maester Aemon as well, which now means that it's pretty good against Morgulis. So in the challenges phase, it's a bit tricky to use him to stop military claim because of the red keep. Again, with Tyrion getting milked, there is no gold now. At the moment, could still have your iron. The Iron Mag will have its due. But in the plot phase, this is not one of the decks that can use the red keep there. Lannister we've seen in recent times with Casterly Rock. It can put some gold on cards, and then it's standing, of course, in the plot phase, and with the red keep in play, you can use it in that phase, which is useful. Yeah, Tyrell deck cannot flip out of Light Summer Feast like Reigns can, so we're giving some cards away. Military, I guess, not that important here. Question is, can he push through the other two for the pinch triggers? Can't win Intrigue by 5. Can he win Power by 5? No. Not even close, especially without being able to cancel Castle Black. So I guess, okay, I would have considered attacking. You're giving cards away, of course, if you succeed, but you force Valnitrik to maybe defend those wins by 5, and then it's tricky for him to use Brand the Builder. Now he has to attack. Has Superduck calculated that he can win on defense to stop Brand the Builder triggers, is the question. So there's 10 strength on power and 7 strength on intrigue. Maybe he can defend everything. Guess it depends if this is Janos Slint or not. Yeah, this is useful. So it forces one of the guys to defend anyway. So even if you're not getting Brand the Builder, it's giving cards for Late Summer Feast. So what we want to do as Superduck here, I guess you want to defend, right? Much better for a random draw than searching top 10. There's 3 stewards in play. Yeah, so definitely need to defend this, otherwise this triggers doesn't need Samuel to participate in the challenge. So it's just going to take the Green Apple Knight or the Hedge Knight. And if we have some lag again, then it's very likely, very possible that this game goes to time, or that it has one of those tricky rounds where the scores are low and players are playing just to stay ahead, which would be an interesting mini game in itself, especially with Tourney for the King being available. Okay, so Tyrion used to defend Intrigue and defending military fully as well. And he can defend power as well, so he's going to defend all of them. Ah, no. Can defend power now. Maybe I would have considered keeping him. Guess depends what Valnitrik has drawn here, right? Wants the Brand, the Builder trigger, obviously. He was a nice protection from pinch potentially as well. And finds an Nosrod. So if he has a decent hand, he's over reserve here. Maybe just attacking and guiding the Light Summer Feast trigger was also useful. But I guess pushing power through not too bad either. Could be important. And with the Tyrell deck going wide now, Wildfire Assault not looking that bad in this matchup. So Morgulis is one way to get the number of knights down, and it will work, right? Because some can be duped, the unique ones, but there's lots of non-uniques, so Green Apple Knight and Hedge Knight and those will be gone. You can get them with Morgulis. But Wildfire Assault also pretty decent, hurts you defending the wall, of course, with fewer characters in play, but it will definitely slow down any power gain from Tourney. And discarding old Tetrasalt for reserve. So he's not coming back. And the high route as well. Has one in play. A good opportunity to play March to the wall. All the characters are pretty decent here. So no first snow, right? Yeah, it's unusual to play Tourney and first snow in the same deck, but it can be done. the Slovenian deck, Tyrell Lion, or was it White Book? I forget now. Did play White Book, I think. Did play first now Enter in the same deck. So this will march one of the bigger characters now. Maybe Janos, since he doesn't have the steward trait. Or maybe the army. Guess it's to be considered here, because the pinch is a constant threat. Yeah, ranging party, but on the other hand, with For the Realm being revealed, there's a decent chance that something like great ranging is coming now. And neither deck plays the Harris. So Night's Watch can go bigger than Tyrell can. And what's this? Ooh. Using it on Pinch and the Undercity. That's so Clever Feint is quite valuable, right? It's a great card, especially with Morgulis in both decks. Surprised even that the Chinese deck here is only playing 2 copies. So you're using it usually on Robert Strong and cards like that, but to use it on the Undercity and Pinch means he's struggling with the hand here. Just wants to get the Undercity into play again for a trigger. Grab something useful, then he's going to bring Pinch this time in the challenges phase for additional draw. Maybe try to get some kind of Boros or something, but the board is not bad in terms of characters. Needs to be answered before turn he can just go crazy. I guess he wants more of those trick cards like Cat's Paw and Robert Strong for the late game here. And this time the Red Keep is available and cancels Great Hall. So let's watch the number of stewards now. We have 3 for that Red Cook. And we have the wall being reduced. Not great ranging. Maybe a Great Wall getting cancelled did make a difference in terms of what Valnitrik was going to do. And that's Keyhand's Judgment here. Very popular in most decks in the Chinese team. And yeah, gets the Red Cook, which would have possibly taken that non-kneeling Green Apple Knight. And now there's no military icon. So the wall is not surviving, right? Now what do you do here? Do you use Aemon again? Just to keep all the dupes and all the characters? No. Yeah, not surprised, because keeping him standing gives you a slightly better chance to play around the pinch. More gold coming in. 2 cards in shadow, so one we know is pinch, the other is a mystery. And the Undercity can draw when pinch comes in. Yeah, I often forget she exists. Don't see her in every Tyrell line deck. Okay, so first the under city, and then when she wins a challenge, which she should now with stealth, she can put pinch into play, but it's not the greatest play, right? Because you have the goal to play it anyway. No intimidate or anything like that. So the problem is here, if Valnitrik now decides not to defend much, you still need to make sure you can defend the win by 5 from the other side, potentially triggering rains. You can't let that happen because Wildfire Assault just brings your board down so much. But I think if you pinch Janos, probably Nightwatch can't really threaten much. Well, just to win is not difficult with Queen of Thorns having stealth, but all the win by 5 calculations, of course, are a bit trickier. And no gold, the red keep is net, so can't get past Castle Black. So whichever character is bypassed, the other one will defend and stand, I'm guessing. And this is just about enough, assuming there's no tricks. And Valnitrik doesn't bother, so he is going for that plan. And yeah, Janos, because you can get rid of him straight away, right? Samuel would have been saved with the dupe, and then you can't push the intrigue through as well. And now what? Now you pass, because they're coming in for 9 strength. And you need to stop them in by 5. Yeah, good round for Superduck. Now Wildfire Assault in the plot phase, you have to arrange it. That's interesting, so that was available as well to change the math a little bit. And allows him to win on defense. So I guess he thinks there's something valuable to protect. And the other thing, of course, that now is a major factor is Morgulis, because both characters here are duped. And on the other side, we have 2 uniques or 3 uniques that are not duped. Not sure if they even have additional copies, so Tyrion does. But the Queen of Thorns and Sir Bryce are just single copies in the deck. And the non-unique, so if Morgulis is played, then you have 3 cards. One of them is Pinch. You can bring that in through Shadows for the Undercity trigger to draw a little bit more. But it's not great, right? You're losing a lot of board. Need to set it up again for that closer that you want to do. Or you could, with open deck lists, you know that Morgulis is in the deck. If you played Morgulis yourself, that's it's risky, but well, he can save as well, so maybe not the thing to do. And the red keep being able to cancel the wall will become important now, because Night's Watch also has the 2 plots to stop the wall getting knelt. Could play PD into Morgulis to get rid of the locations. Plays the father. Okay, so if this round goes well and the father triggers, then Superduck is a huge favorite for the rest of the game. But at the moment, he loses his entire board. And we have Samuel surviving on the other side, and some econ, it's not great. And Aemon is used, so he's not going to be standing to defend against pinch and military claim. He's used for the save, fearing pinch on Samuel on Morgulis from the other side as well. And here we go, digging for cards. Could get tempo plays with Boros and Mark Mollendor and stuff like that. So it's a big round. On the other hand, there is a threat of red cook again, so 1 is spent. Ooh, 2 are spent, so okay. Chances are that we won't see another one. With just 1 steward, could have taken green apple knights and stuff like that that can get played. Yeah, now the situation has changed, right? Because Tyrell is ahead and Night's Watch will need more time to turn it around. It's a bit on the slow side with all the Undercity triggers, thinking about what to get, what to keep on top and stuff like that. Guess the thing that tells you really how slow it's going is not the power gain, so the power gain can depends a lot on the decks, but how many rounds go through. And we are in round 4 with a bit more than 20 minutes remaining. And usually I think in 55 minutes you would expect to play something like 7 rounds. And well, good news for Valnitrik is that this is not as bad as it could have been. And what does the father do now? Doesn't exactly want to reduce the board further. And Tups coming in. Now standing character would have been even better. And this time econ is actually usable because the red keep doesn't have any more gold. Superduck had to spend it all just to get the 2 characters into play. Just having an icon here would have been great to keep the wall standing. Now the other thing, no intrigue icons at all. That could be a minor disaster if it stays like that. I mean, because can flip into a plot with claim and do stuff then with Samuel Tarly. What's the situation? Let's see. Could flip into Forgotten Plans, I guess, if you don't want the father to trigger. Or just pointy end him to get rid of that 1 power he's just got. So to stand character doesn't really work out. Can just do intrigue, but then can't push the power through with claim from the Reigns switch. That's unfortunate. Needed a bit more here. But he does do the Forgotten Plans to stop the father trigger. And not a good hit, Tyrion was dead already. Well, it's a good hand size against a very small board. So there's a tourney that you want to play really with more stuff in play. And Morgulis, so I guess the other plot is coming, whatever it is. Let's refresh our memory. Oh, political disaster hasn't been played yet, right? So that's coming. And now here comes Night's Watch with the wall defense. And you have to keep the red keep if you want to cancel the wall, but then with 2 cards in hand you desperately want the Undercity as well, right? So you're getting rid of the Arbor. Loses the Undercity. That could be crucial if he doesn't have another one. But red keep cancelling the wall. Could try to just stay ahead. 19 minutes left. Although, what to do with your own Morgulis is the question. You need to find a dupe for him. Turn is not gonna win if it's flipped now. So if you play Turny and then you play Morgulis to kill all the power you've gained, it's not great. So you need to Morgulis first and then Turny, but then board is gone again, so... Alright. 2 non-unique knights, 1 non-kneeling, so I guess the plan is to try to win, get some power this round, win next round with Turny for the king, and then Morgulis doesn't matter. But if the game is fast enough and you are forced to flip into Morgulis and you're not on 15 power, then it's bye-bye Tyrell, I think. And these 3 are all still alive, and red keep gets that great haul again, so it's not getting the wall. But military challenge is getting the wall anyway, because there's no icons. Yeah, Econ struggling now, good political disaster. Couldn't establish much of a board, and now Intrigue. Okay, at least Intrigue is weak here, can be defended, or doesn't need to be defended to worry about pinch here, because it's just theory strength, so it's giving power for unopposed, which is dangerous. Oh, sorry, this is the military challenge. I was thinking it's he attacked on the intrigue challenge. Okay, so let's see how that goes. Doesn't need to be defended, but it could be. It's the fire that burns, so it will be, because they're not kneeling to defend. Yeah, so it makes sense to do military first to force Aemon to kneel. Don't want to lose more of the board here, so... Now if you attack with Intrigue, that allows the 2 characters to just defend and trigger Reigns on defense, and that could be Game of Thrones, right? Then that's your power challenge also gone. So I don't think Superduck will even initiate the Intrigue challenge here. Or if he does, he needs to do power first, it seems. But then if he does power first, then Valnitrik could under defend, keep the character standing to push the Intrigue challenge back. And instead of Game of Thrones, could go pointy end on the Knight of Flowers. Get rid of 2 additional power, and then maybe that Tourney is not winning. Yeah, not enough to stop the pinch. To trigger the pinch, I mean. Here we go, they're strong enough at the moment. Is there anything in hand to stop it? Yeah, 15 minutes left. It's pretty slow, but it's not slow enough. Morgulis will be revealed if Superduck doesn't get to 15, I think. So here comes the Reigns into pointy end, I think. Ah. Okay, and that's pretty good. Okay, he doesn't have the power icon on this side, but he can do the military, and if it's not a high tower knight in hand or something like that, then something needs to die, which is great again for tourney next round. Yeah, wall trigger's not getting through. It's keeping Tyrell ahead. So Tyrell is not going to have a good few rounds here. But whether it's enough to turn the game around in terms of power will be interesting, right? Getting rid of a lot of cards for reserve, which is unfortunate, and it's not going to be able to play out much with this limited econ. So what do you do now? Go tourney, hope to find a dupe for Knight of Flowers at least. Can't Morgulis right with one card in hand, just top decking. And Aemon for the save available as well. Against close call. That's more draw, and it's not the worst econ, it's not the greatest, but maybe the play here actually, so the other one available was for the watch, right? So that being able to stop one challenge, so they would need to throw away a challenge basically. If they throw away power, that's great. If they throw away intrigue, you could threaten to win on defense for the Reigns trigger, go into Game of Thrones, and if they throw away military, well, that's the one challenge where they share the icons, right, for the tourney. So okay, slightly surprising that he went for a close call, because then next round will be for the watch against Morgulis. Yeah, and for the watch against Morgulis, if this guy is still in play with his Lord Steward and going first that round. Immediately using that great haul that forces the red keep decision. Oh, it's getting 1,000 cards into play here. And the dupe as well. So many dupes. So what's that in shadows? We'll be able to stand the Knight of Flowers, but how's he winning a challenge? He can win military. Can't kneel the wall with that if core in defense. Guess he doesn't really want to defend, would be better for him to gain renown as well, but okay. But if you defend, you force the red keep to stay standing to cancel the wall specifically. Slightly weak on the icons actually, then you only have one power icon as well. So he would need to defend, and these are characters you want to use yourself. And Intrigue is the one where one Night's Watch has the advantage, and again threatens Reigns trigger, but now running out of stuff. So used power behind the throne. Not the greatest use of it, possibly. Would have been better now to stand core in, for instance. Then Forgotten Plans and pointy end gone. So there is Game of Thrones, which you need to constantly play around because it just stops the challenges phase. And then there is Wildfire Assault, that's not getting used now. Nine power, can he get to 15? I'm not seeing it really. Although just conceding unopposed here is so dangerous. It's really dangerous to concede unopposed like that. That gets him up to 12, so power challenge with 2 knights would win the game. There's a high tower knight somewhere. And now that the wall has net, you're not forced to keep that red keep for the cancel. So it can cancel other stuff. Can it cancel? Sure it can. It can cancel the Lord Stewart later. Well, hurry up, yeah. I'm thinking it's either getting 15 here or it's not, right? The Tyrell deck. And then Morghulis, on the Morghulis round, Knightswitch is going to win. Or maybe thinks he needs another round after that, which could be the case, right? And defends this one, so this is important. Is there something to mess with the strength of characters? Because if there is not, then this is flipping into Game of Thrones. By the way, Lannister game has started by now, right? If it's starting on schedule, so we'll be joining that immediately after this game ends. And so is there anything here to stop Game of Thrones being revealed? Oh, okay, has to cancel this on defense. Participating works on defense as well. That's crazy. And there go the other challengers. Yeah, so he wasn't strong enough to win power if there's no more tricks either. So seven reserve, can draw cards, can't gain power at the moment. And the question is, does this card somehow help win against Corin? It's important to protect the power, to protect the lead. Oh, this is all very risky, right? If there's Boros in shadows and he brings... I assume we don't know this, right? I think I've been paying decent enough attention. This is a mystery card, so if Boros brings in some kind of icon, intrigue icon to win on defense, and they're all knights, then that just wins, right? Just wins the game immediately. Guess there's nothing like that in the deck, but there could be. And this one is more critical. If he does power and that happens, then that is game over. And he's doing it, so if Boros brings in a power icon and they defend, they get to 14 and... oh, actually the character would be discarded before dominance. Does he defend or does he want one more power for dominance? He's winning at the moment anyway. Okay, so it doesn't matter. He can defend and win dominance. But with Morghulis revealed, he will be down to 10 power. against Night's Watches 6. 1 card in hand, 1 card in shadows, 0 claim against For the Watch, so if he goes first can't even do anything. If he goes second then there's a military claim and Lord Stewart. Well, okay, so using this on himself, is he? Or trying to get rid of a dupe before Morgulis. With Aemon in play, that's not the greatest. Okay, he gets rid of Aemon himself, but then there is a dupe on Corin and dupe on Samuel. Ah, the 1 card in hand. Okay, Cat's Paw and Knight of Flowers go to shadows, so that's some cards that can come into play. 2 gold on the plot, but Red Wine Strains and the Arbor are here. And yeah, this time Valnitrik immediately forces Superduck to go first. Which means he needs to waste the challenge as well before anything can be done. And maybe we'll just see him try to defend and stay ahead. And with Cat's Paw and Knight of Flowers, I think it might be possible. We'll see. 8 gold, so needs it all. Now what does Valnitrik do? Does he rush? Try to get another round, or does he take it slowly and consider how to get ahead when time expires? Or a mix of the two. Gets another good combination. Duped Jon Snow. Well protected against any tricks. And yeah, if he plays quickly. So depends if he can stay ahead here. So if he can push the power challenge through with Renown, that would be 8 against 9. And Dominance would be 9-9. So it's close, okay, but wins an unopposed here as well. So yeah. The problem is now he doesn't have an excuse really to waste the 2 minutes, right? Because the board on the other side is empty, so now I think Superduck knows he's lost this round, so he will try to get another round himself, but with all the dupes. Even if it's turn revealed again. Yeah, power climb obviously mandatory. It would be crazy if you could cancel it on defense. Red Keep cancels the wall. And he keeps all the cards in shadows with 5 gold remaining, so that's resources being wasted. So what does he do? Does he play March to the wall now? Get rid of that dupe John? Or what? That's exactly what he does against the Nikon plot. Well, clever feint was that last card that allowed some characters to be saved against Morgulis, but that didn't matter. If the last card was... if there was some kind of combination, right? Boros in shadows and then High Tower Knight in hand or something, to be able to win power on defense and get turn it through. Actually, in that case, maybe you could just do it on attack as well, right? That was game over, so it was extremely close, but now I am not seeing a good way for Tyrell to win. Now could still get some kind of pinch on Corin. He has no attachments except weapon, and pinch is a weapon. get rid of his power and somehow try to stay ahead, but I am not seeing it. There's 3 huge characters. There's Castle Black now as well. So looks like France will win their second game. So does anyone know what happened in the first one? In the second one, I mean the Martel game that Pierre played. Don't have a result reported for that one, so I wonder if it's 2-1 or 3-0, or if the other game was not even played. So we have to join the Lannister game quickly because it's in progress, right? Or it's not. Okay, so it looks like the players have waited for us, which is good news. That's very nice of them. And we'll have Márton joining us in a second. Okay, let's make that happen. Hello Márton, can you hear us?
Hello.
Hello, so I see the players have waited for us, and that means that we can even just take okay, so the game is starting now, but we can have maybe take 60 seconds to look at the decks. So this is already done, and this is the one we'll be watching now. So we have the French Lannister deck is the many-faced god that we saw in one of the previous rounds, and had that great play with Sir Gregor Clegane on top of that pile, and he had Intimidate, and then the deck just got some kind of Voltron Tyrion with all 3 icons and painted dogs to stand him, and he had Intimidate, and it was really crazy. So lots of jumpers in this one, and first snow as well. And the other one is completely different. So it's a nice combination of Lannister good stuff with characters like Tywin and Cersei in the deck, and Tyrion as well, the shadow one. And then it plays some shadows, especially the locations, bowels for draw, and has tunnels and the Alchemist's Guildhall that are both King's Landing locations, and plays King's Landing itself. So when those locations come out in dominance after they're used in challenges, they immediately kneel to draw cards and then stand again in the standing phase, which is a really nice loop. And we saw one of the games from this deck in previous rounds, and it was really interesting as well. So it will be a nice clash of styles. So Márton, what do you think? Who is the favorite in this one?
I really like both of these decks, but in this matchup, I think the Chinese deck is quite heavily favored, actually, because as I understand, both want to play some kind of War of Attrition, and the Chinese decks has so much stability and draw that I think it is favored here.
Yeah, so it's the only banner of the Falcon deck that is notable really in this tournament, that has had some success and played in one of the top teams. And it's interesting. So I always wonder what the agenda really brings. So you need to put in 12 house airing cards, and then you get +1 reserve. Okay, which deck that plays with lots of shadows usually does not keep such a strong hand, and it hurts you with initiative. You need to you're playing with -2 all the time, and if you want to keep it on 0 for the airing tricks, of course that may not necessarily be a problem. But then the benefit you get is just +1 strength on your loyals, and there are some, of course, like Tywin and Cersei and Tyrion, as we said, in the deck. But could be played with similar mechanics in a completely different agenda, I guess, as well. So, but interesting to see they've chosen this.
Uh, well, of course, the Chinese players would be the best source for this information. But thinking about this a bit, I think this deck actually wants the reserve because there's so much draw.
Yeah, and it happens before the standing phase, right, with those King's Landing locations sometimes, so it makes sense that you would need the reserve to be a little higher. Yeah, so jumpers against the board that could have cards like Tywin, but then also has some shadows tricks. It will be interesting to see if it can do its tricks. So let's see. Do we have in this one actually 3 copies of the 4-cost Hound that can return knights to hand, and with the Many-Faced God you can use that on an opponent's character, give them the knight trait, and then return them to hand, which will be an interesting trick for Lannister if
Yeah,
it is
well,
available.
I think this is one of the main reasons to play this deck, right?
Yeah, that and getting Sir Gregor Clegane, so there's just 1 copy. He kills himself immediately at the first opportunity, but has good keywords, or a good keyword actually, the Intimidate. It works really nicely on top of the death pile. But
Yeah, and
yeah,
also the Halfman's Horse is really great to kill.
yes, exactly. So that's the other one with Intimidate and Assault as well, which is a good one in this matchup potentially.
And also helps standing with the painted dogs because it gives the glancement trait. So that is also something that shouldn't be overlooked.
Yeah, so I guess that you would use on your own characters, and the night trait you would use on the opponent, but you have to get something into the death pile. And at the moment we have, so this is round 1, we have Late Summer Feast against Summer Harvest, which is great for the French team here, and we have Tower of the Hand being a constant threat, and we have Lion Star, one of the jumping locations, against the Dupe Tywin, very safe at the moment, and 5 gold for tricks in the challenges phase. And now if that's something like Sir Robert Strong, you don't want to kill the Hedge Knight, right? Don't want that on top of the death pile with the Knight trait.
Yeah, probably. I think, of course, if it's Robert Strong in the shadows, he probably is hoping to kill Tyrion, which can give stats, but at least Tyrion is not on the board, so that's something.
Yeah, so King's Landing is already in play with another King's Landing location, so that's giving gold, but could also give draw if the card in shadows is a King's Landing location. They do have the shadow keyword.
Yeah, this King's Landing thing is a great idea in this deck. I wouldn't have thought of it ever, I think, but it's amazing.
Yeah, I tried a deck like this a few months ago before Sky's Honor was released, so didn't have Banner of the Falcon then, just to get the shadows locations exactly like this deck is playing it, right, in the dominance phase for additional draw, and I dropped it pretty quickly because I lost the games, but this one is constructed, I guess, much better than mine was, and it's working for sure here. And it's a very Chinese type of, or maybe I should just say a Bing type of deck, because he tends to play this kind of deck a lot, where there's a lot of draw and just all the good stuff cards that don't necessarily have a very focused team, but they just are good cards on their own, and the draw supports that kind of good stuff deck. And we saw him playing that in the online World Championship with Baratheon, Valyrian Steel. And I saw him playing some time ago, just a casual game with Bara Summer as well on the Iron Throne that was very similar. Just had all the draw and all the good stuff cards. And this is right up his alley, I think, this Banner of the Falcon deck that he's playing here.
Sure. Uh, of course, this has elements of the old Lenny Kingdom of Shadows deck from the end of the FFG era, but this is much more of a good stuff deck than it was.
Yeah, I think we saw in, was it the semifinals against, I seem to remember displaying against Reinhard Shevchik on one time, and there was a Mad King's Command being played, which is a plot that was kind of expected to be good against Shadows, because it gets rid of your cards in hand, and the Shadows are not that strong on the board usually with their Mended Moors and stuff like that, but it had absolutely no impact there because this deck can play on the board. It just kept Tywin, Cersei, and Tyrion or something like that, and it was a really strong board.
Okay, in the meantime, there are some interesting things
Yeah, the Hound
happening
making
here.
an appearance there. So,
Yeah, so
do we have March
being
here?
killed, a Lannister sport merchant with Robert Strong, and then Robert Strong was sent back to hand with the Hound.
Yeah,
So this is probably a march, right?
yeah, clears the way to march a Dupe Tywin, which is useful. So duel also in the deck, and it could be annoying in the long run if Lannister tries to play on the board. And what do you do against this march? You play more Econ, makes sense. Get the board back.
Yeah, this is also a bit, the plot setup is similar to the Kingdom of Shadows deck. I was also playing that at the end of the FFG times, so I have some memories of it. It was also a very gold hungry deck that could present a very strong board presence with the tunnels of the Red Keep. And it also ran like 2 resets and 4 economy plots.
Yeah, much more difficult to play these days, but it's still going strong. The Lanny Shadows archetype, so it's being tried with several different agendas. And now that Jaime is in play, that's another problem to overcome if you want to get stuff into play mid challenges. This is the part that I really like, right? When you top deck locations and they just replace themselves. So the Iron Throne, useful in itself in a game that is not going to have either player really rush with power, and it replaces itself, draws another card. And here comes the Guild Hall, so it's going to cancel the first thing it can, go back into Shadows, and then in Dominance comes back, kneels to draw a card for King's Landing, and stands again in the standing phase.
Yeah, it helps against Jaime for sure.
Yeah, can get him one time. Well, lots of econ and 2 cards in Shadows, but nothing in play. And now what does Friends do here? Just go for the power challenges. There's no power to steal on the faction card. Or do you just accept that it's not going to go fast and do nothing? Yeah, the removal here is tricky. Tower of the Hand, but if there's nothing in play and if you're first player here, there's nothing to remove.
Yeah, that is something that you have to learn to manage if you play Tower of the Hand. But most of the time, it's a nice problem to have. Here, not that sure.
Okay, so we have painted dogs that can stand Tyrion. You need to, if you're going to ambush that and use Lion Star, you have the Jaime on your side that you need to play around a little bit as well, so you do that before he kneels. And now the situation with the agenda is there's an ally steward with a power icon, so that's not the card you want on top of your death pile.
Okay, so Tyrion is cancelled with the Guildhall.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't plan to do anything this phase.
Looks like it, yeah.
So just wants to make sure that location triggers so that it can come back. But that's conceding some power. So the Hound went back to hand, right? With the Iron Bank will have its due.
Yes.
So it's available again if something with the nitrates, nitrate finds itself on top of the dead pile. Then you need to constantly play around that.
Yeah, and also Bing has quite a few characters with the printed night traits. So as we saw that it was a problem enough that Robert Strong was sent back to hand. So maybe he can make do without having a dead knight. At least that has to be played around.
Okay, 4 gold remaining, but Jaime is there and no obvious way to cancel him. So I guess you pass here and tie dominance, right? Or is there any other thing you can do?
Well, dominance won't be tie because of the throne.
Ah, of
But we are
course.
at dominance.
Yeah. And now comes the Guildhall back.
Yeah, that's expected.
1 copy of the Guildhall. You also have 3 copies of Tunnels of the Red Keep, which is even more useful. Well, not even more useful, but it will be useful for sure once
Yeah, I
the
think that is
game.
one of the key tools of this deck, but it needs characters on the board.
Yeah, the game will go down to the challenges phase at some point. So we have Jaime getting killed now. This is where you need to pick the order correctly and not just select them randomly. And okay, so you need the knight for the Hound, but there is also other considerations. So Jaime has Renown and Tyrion has Stealth.
Yeah, you could reasonably want stealth, but probably here the nitrate is better. Since that we know that he has the hound in hand. But luckily there is, at least luckily for Bing, there is the guild hall so that can also cancel the hound.
Yeah, so I think that needs to stay in play now to make sure the Hound doesn't hurt him. There is, just looking, there is 1 copy of the Red Keep, that's the other cancel, and it's playing no events. The Chinese deck. Now the French deck is also playing Red Keep, 2 copies, and there's 1 copy of Treachery. So not exactly the most cancel heavy matchup here. If you had something like 3 companies here that has the Bagging Brothers and the Red Keep everywhere and seized as well.
Yeah.
So no claim here for Bing, so that's probably another round where just does very little and maybe just the minimum to stall any power gain.
Yeah, but I think in general it is okay for this kind of deck to just stall in the first few turns.
And I think now Brand the Builder being revealed means that something will come into play and try to win a challenge or two. And Boros, okay, can't be cancelled with the Guildhall because he has the Shadow keyword. So he's going to bring something else into play and try to get through 2 challenges through. And that what locations are you looking for? So Harrenhal for one, and also Casterly Rock, 3 copies, the core version.
Yeah, probably either Harrenhal or the Red Keep would be the best here. The Red Keep could give a lot of control over the game, I think.
Yeah, going in trick first, so if something wants to block this, then military could be coming. So good start for France, but there is always that possibility that suddenly the Chinese team here, the Chinese deck can get a good board, and then tunnels gets played, and it will be difficult to push challenges through from then on.
Yeah, this deck is, I think, very good in comebacks, but it is a good start for France, for sure.
And there's the last of the Tywins also gone. There was the goal to play him. So finds Harrenhal and the Gold Road with Brand the Builder. Could do another challenge, but then Brand the Builder has limit twice per phase, but you still have a standing Lion Star. So what happens? Boros stays in play, so he's got the Renown from the agenda, and the Hound at the end of the round will be discarded from play. At the end of the phase, I should say.
Yeah, I think here he is trying to close before Bing has time to do a comeback. But next round will probably be a big econ plot again. So
Mendon goes
we will
after
see.
the hand, but there's 2 cards. One is dead and one is in place, so nothing achieved there. And this time the Guildhall couldn't really do much, and it did not get recycled, so no extra draw. Okay, so in terms of resets, France still also has the Harris first now and duel, so with 3 Tywins gone, spending the duel now, and then the remaining rounds will be first snow, to Harris, and you win or you die. So I guess you win or you die coming in round 6. And on the other side, okay, no big econ this time, going for the card draw. Lots of reserve, to be fair, so we'll be getting some cards here, but needs to survive, and it's 9-1 at the moment. And then after
Yeah, but
this,
since he played this, I think he's confident that he can survive this round.
he also has the Harris, and then 2 plots that are just economy. So that's when he starts playing, I guess. Yeah, but this round he needs to start blocking stuff. He can't let unopposed, especially with Renown, through anymore. There is plenty of time, 34 minutes left. It's quite fast, faster than the other game we watched, so this is start of round 4, and only 20 minutes have gone.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is that the throne is kind of hurting him now because it always generates a power to steal and does nothing else really.
Yeah, maybe, well, it could have, of course, got France here power for winning dominance instead, if it wasn't here, but yeah, it's going to be important, I guess, in the late game. if Bing can stall here.
Yeah, and there is the tunnels, so this might be a turning point actually.
Well, that means it will be difficult to push challenges through with cards and shadows. It's not a huge number at the moment, but it's enough. However,
Yeah, and
the removal
gives that to
part,
everyone, so
yeah, the removal part of the French deck here, right, is still a factor. So it's also playing Robert Strong. It's also playing Mandon Moore and the Hound tricks, the Queen's Assassin even. So could go more aggressive for the rest of the game now. Although getting rid of the board here and pushing some more challenges through for some power gain would be nice, because after this round the banner of the Falcon deck with siege preparations is refilling the hand and then going into trade routes and loan from the Iron Bank. And then you're not going to remove all that it plays out, I think.
yeah. And also we don't expect, of course, Robert Strong here, and every other relevant trigger can be cancelled with the Guild Hall.
Here we go.
Yeah, here is the Queen's Assassin, but not doing much probably due to the Guild Hall.
Yeah, that's one you can cancel, and does he? Or does he not? He does not.
Hmm.
Well, that's surprising.
What else does he expect? Maybe he is keeping it for the Hound, because that is more targeted.
Yeah, could be. And okay, Mandon has the trait already. The Regent's Guard does not.
Yeah, if he wanted to do this, then of course it's important to shut down the Hound from sending back Mandon ahead of time.
Okay, so how is the Hound going to come into play now? So we have Lion Star. Oh, that is cost 4 or lower, so that's already enough.
Yep.
It can always come
Yep.
into play with just with that. I was thinking it was maybe 3 or lower, and then you need other tricks, but no.
No, it's 4. That's why the painted dogs are so good.
Here we go, spending some of those tricks now.
Yeah, and having Boros out of the picture is important. Because when the first snow comes, he could be recycled and cause problems again. But not now.
And now the board state is dramatically different. Now Bing is ahead here. Good locations, full hand, and he's behind on power, so here is where the dynamic changes. So the hair is on both sides, but both boards are completely fine with it at the moment. So I guess, yeah, you keep it maybe for the last one if you are friends here, because the Chinese deck is going to start playing on the board more.
Yeah, and probably first snow won't ever do anything that is impactful, so Toharis at least has a chance to do something.
And the last plot is you win or you die, so it depends. You would usually want to play that in round 6 and round 8 in a long game, but
Yep.
maybe if he thinks he has to play the Harris twice. I don't think so, because Tywin is gone, so the board is not going to be huge, and you have duel as well if two of the really high costers are played. So I think he's
Yeah, and also Bing has the Harris, so I don't really think that having to play two Doharis is the consideration.
yeah. So do you think Bing is now trying to guess when the opponent is going to play the Harris to try to get it in the same round, so that it's not
Probably.
back to back the Harris? Yeah. So I think he's expecting it in round 7 probably. Okay, so Kevin brings in Casterly Rock. Two challenges. Well, if you have the characters, that's useful. You can get some unopposed from that. And we have 2 gold mines for the filter and all the draw here, so it's really impressive, but it is slow. So the other deck did get to 9 or 10 power, and if it was a little bit faster, then you can get the win before this whole board gets established. And also any kind of location control, right? So political disaster or Mad King's command hurts a little bit, although I did discover in my attempts of making King's Landing work that it's a great answer for political disaster potentially, because you can keep it and get 2 extra econ from it, and then any location you play from then on just replaces itself, which is nice in the late game always.
Yeah. And this will be a really good trade route if we get there.
Look at the strengths now.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard because I think the French deck is not fast enough to deal with this, because it is not a fast deck. It is also an attrition deck. It's just very. This is a hard position to play an attrition deck against this one.
Yeah, so it was gaining power for unopposed in the early game, right? And there was nothing to kill off and nothing to do with the tower, because the board
Yeah.
was empty. If Bing had played on the board at that time and got his stuff killed, then it would have been different. Four cards in shadows. It's not huge. Remember back in the day, we had those crazy Martel Banner of the Lion decks that got something like 17 cards in shadows. And you played underhanded methods, and your character got crazy amount of strength. But yeah, that was for one guy. Tunnels works on everything. And it doesn't need anything huge, right? If it's giving everyone +3, that's a huge swing in itself.
Yeah.
And here we go. That's the trick. Gets another card, and it's down to 27 left in the deck, so it's in more than half of the deck already. And 10 cards more than Lannister did here. The French Lannister did. Okay. So we will have back-to-back the Harris. So it will be the Harris into you win or you die.
Yeah, but at this point, I think Pink is quite okay with losing one character.
Sure, Sir Robert Strong doesn't like to stick around. Now he goes back to the deck, and there's 25 cards. So it's not even that crazy an idea that you could dig your way to those bottom cards at some point, although in this case that would be dangerous. Could deck yourself.
Does he have a way to shuffle? I don't think he does.
He is not playing Citadel Archivist to get the discard pile back, and Does he play any search effects? I'm not seeing any.
Yeah, so we probably won't see Robert Strong again, but he did what he had to, so I think he now has enough tools to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, no shuffle in the deck. But he can, if he wanted him, he could try to get to draw 20. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, because you draw, let's say you draw 4 or 5 each round. You have this guy Chiswick, he can discard the top card of your deck, and then you have gold mines to dig, right? So if you had 40 cards left in the deck, you could try to dig for specific cards, but with 20 you're not going to get yourself in trouble that way, to get in that genuine danger of decking yourself. This is now huge board, and we have Wing Knight that is going to be useful when Morgulis comes back again, if it comes.
Yeah, I think he is in full control now. There is nothing really to do.
Well, just survive, I guess. Then we'll see the Harris into You Win or Die. Not so easy, so she is non-kneeling with 2 challenges, so she'll be gaining power. And here we go. The Hound comes in, but not using the agenda. Can't now anyway, because the top of that pile got messed up. So he's just used on Kevan, who has the trait anyway. And I don't think Bing minds that at all, because Kevan wasn't going to survive the Harris, so he's now just going to come back next round.
And now suddenly he's on the offensive, and so I think it's not that bothered by losing that one character.
And here come the pinches now as well. Cancel Cersei. Makes sense, because I think it's a genuine threat of getting to 15 here, so this will be another unopposed. Cersei will gain power for this one. And then we have, so this is all still, yeah, still the intrigue challenges. Then we still have military and power to come. Jeez, you don't see that a lot, do you? I guess you're looking for characters that are loyal for the agenda.
Yeah, I have a Lanny Falcon deck. It's very different than this one. It's like a completely different concept. But I also ran Cheswick in that because he's pretty good with +1 strength.
So that's the Hound gone up to 13, and now it's the Harris against You Win or Die. So the only real plan that can work here is go first and try to kill stuff off, but it's not going to work because characters can come in through shadows. And let's be honest, it's not going to be even enough to push the military challenge through against this board.
Yeah, for sure.
Now you could lose Cersei just to keep 3 characters in play. But okay, chooses Cersei and Chiswick, also completely legitimate. Wing Knight gone, so doesn't really have Morghulis to fear from the other side. He could have played it himself, but he's not going to at this point. And I think a concession might come unless a champ 36 has drawn something useful.
Yeah, but what is useful here?
Well, if you had the perfect 5 cards that you could pick from your deck, I don't think it's doable even in that case.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
The oops applications don't want
These
to see
are
that.
not the perfect 5 cards, for sure.
And red keep. Just in case.
Yeah.
And Márton comes back and there's no cards to protect him. So this one is over. And it's an important win for China because they have not had a great start here. So they lost 2 of the 3 games and the third one is a mystery. Still don't know who won that one. So if anyone knows what happened yesterday afternoon, you can tell us. And yeah, here comes the concession. So let's see before we discuss this if the other one is still being played. No, so there was another one supposed to be played at the same time, the Baratheon against the Targaryen game, so I'm guessing that one has finished as well. So we'll try to find out the result of that one for you. So yeah, thank you Márton for joining me on this one. It was quite interesting to see this clash of styles, was it not?
Yeah, for sure. And as I said, I really like both of these decks. So congrats for the deck builders for both of them.
Yeah, I knew. I had, let's say, pretty low opinion of Banner of the Falcon when it was released. I didn't see much potential, but as soon as I saw it in the Chinese team, so they are the defending champions and great deck builders. They always bring really strong decks to this kind of event and to the team regionals as well. And as soon as I saw it there, I knew that they figured out something, some kind of strong deck with this agenda, and really happy to see it do well. And so that's the 4th game now finished, possibly 5th game if this one, the Bar Assault against Dark Trident, was also played at the same time, which means we have the remaining games for you tomorrow. Let's just check to make sure that the other one is not getting played after this one now. Okay. And we can have a look at what is still to come. So oh, actually, oh, okay, yeah, this game was delayed to start after the Night's Watch game. Sorry, I thought maybe the other game was still going to be played now. So it doesn't look like it. So for tomorrow we have for you these 3 games. So we have Tyrell, Banner of the Lion for France against the Chinese Martel Knights of the Hollow Hill. We have Stark Wars against Stark Aloof. And we have, if it's still not decided by game 8, the world champion playing Greyjoy Filthy against a very interesting Night's Watch, or no, I guess it's debatable whether it's interesting or not, but it's for sure a very strong Night's Watch Valyrian Steel deck that is tough to crack and has been doing extremely well in this tournament. Alright, so those games all will be streamed live as well, just to bring you the conclusion of this tournament. So yeah, thanks again, Márton, for joining me today. So if you have time tomorrow, welcome to join me as well.
I don't have time tomorrow, sadly. But thank you for having me today.
Yeah, no worries. Then hopefully someone else will be able to jump in. So that's all we had for you. And we will see you all next time. Bye bye.
Bye.